The difficulties for African states to reduce youth unemployment and to provide a reliable solution to the problem of the inadequacy between training and employment are at the root of the idea of the professionalization of teachings on the continent. Current upheavals of the society also corresponds to a new vision of education. The former education system, which exalted the accumulation of knowledge for simple intellectual satisfaction, is obsolete and should quickly give way to a more professional vision. For an industrialized Africa, as Europe, America, and Asia, any apprenticeship will have to justify on social grounds its raison d'être. This is therefore the time for professionalization of teachings and studies and adapting to the social, economic, and cultural realities of the world of production. Initiatives are gradually being born in some countries. For example, the case of the Africa Sputnik project initiated by a Cameroonian who for a decade shares a life experience with Asia, going between China and Malaysia through Thailand. Klean Marley Sa'a, since it's about him, has observed and understood the system used by these countries, and more particularly China, his host country, which has thus developed extraordinarily and climbed to the rank of second global economic power while still in its growth process.
Le projet African Sputnik Moment.
The African Sputnik Moment project is the professionalization of teaching and the miniaturization of industry from kindergarten to university succinctly. The professionalization and the miniaturization are only possible thanks to a set of equipment, machine tools that we make available to various institutions to allow children from kindergarten to university to make achievements, to conceptualize this achievement themselves. At the kindergarten level, we offer pre-made models that allow children to understand the environment and identify things around them. We give the secondary and primary school the same model, but we associate equipment. These machine tools and the children of the primary schools at the same time bring out to us what is. They realize the diagram which is on the model. Now in secondary school, especially when seniors years onward, the children themselves design with the computer and those machines and make whatever they want. Up to this level, it is the miniaturization of industry. And from higher education at that point, there are no longer miniaturization machines, but machines that can directly make consumable products.
Marley proposes a system that puts the miniaturization of the industry at its center, to excite the creative genius of children while avoiding them from getting disoriented while entering the active life. After Nkongsamba, where the CEO of Africa Sputnik Moment Limited was invited to present his initiative at the Moungo Festival in 2018, it was the city of Dschang in the west region of Cameroon who gave him a helping hand. Students, teachers, presidents, parents and teachers associations, and of course other members of the educational community got together on Friday, May 24th in the ceremonial hall of the Dschang Council to witness the presentation of the project Africa Sputnik Movement. A workshop during which the miniaturization of the industry was debated at the service of the professionalization of the teachings or studies. It was chaired by His Royal Highness Beaudelaire Donfack, Mayor of Dschang Council, in the presence of the representatives of the Dschang District Inspector of Basic Education, the Divisional Delegate of Basic Education, and that of Secondary Education.
Vous savez, nous sommes à l'avant-garde.
You know, we are at the forefront of seizing opportunities for the development and modernization of our society, and a project that concerns the technique. If you want the technology without which no development is possible, and for us it's relevant. And I was contacted by this elite of the Cameroonian diaspora who told me about this project and that we can implement in our system so that from the base age that our children can become familiar with the technique of making what we need every day in our life and for a decent life. So we thought we could encourage him to meet the whole educational committee of Menoir department to present this project. And I'm very happy to note that the call we make to the community was favorably accepted. Since the room was full of people, you yourself have seen it.
The participants also came to realize the diversity of the areas of action of this project: economic intelligence, the professionalization of education, the miniaturization of the industry, the proposal of technologies for the engineering of the future Cameroon.
And
the scope of application of this project is so extended, you know. You have the automotive architecture, aviation, consumer electronics, communicational products. Are not these sectors that are the field of application of the African Sputnik Moment project?
For the bearer of this initiative, all the tasks, that is, famine, war, climate change, technological delay, political instability, which hit the great black continent today, is the Sputnik moment of Africa. In other words, it is up to the children of the continent to know how to transform all these handicaps into numerous advantages and opportunities of development. He is therefore convinced that if the other countries were able, Cameroon is as well able. In other words, Marley Sa'a suggests to his brethren that it is quite possible to transform the pain into energy, as so many people have done at critical moments of their history. The US, following the launch by the Russians of their first satellite in space. Israel, following the prohibition of arms delivery by France, while the Hebrew state is at war. The use of equipment, such as models and machines, tools, in nursery, primary, secondary, and higher cycles of education, offers many advantages. Among other things, it allows children to acclimatize to the use of technological means in solving their problems, to think of things, to conceptualize, using miniaturized machines and associated with computers. In addition to low cost related to miniaturization, this method has the advantage of providing children with the possibility of materializing tools and other objects from their thoughts in a field of action as vast as communication, aviation, architecture, automobile, and products of basic necessities. This maneuver was intended to show the audience how different types of objects could be produced from prefabricated models and made available. Throughout this exercise, various machines have produced multiple objects with the contribution of student volunteers in the audience, and the personalities who were present were surprised to notice the ease with which their students and children engaged in demonstrations on machines they had never known. These students have thus been able to produce miniaturized objects, that is, glass houses, animals, and by simply changing parts on machine tools, it would have been simply possible, in the opinion of the proponent, just as much to produce many metal objects in the image of the springs.
This is a workshop to allow children to improve their knowledge and skills to be able to achieve certain things that can be useful to us in everyday life. Here it was above all an industry using wood, and it's wood we could make certain small objects, for example, small planes, small houses, and a workshop where the primary school students made a sailing boat, as you can all see. And also, the high school students made a house in the form of a cathedral. We can all say that. I like it since there are children who were very attracted to the material, since there were various materials like the sander, the drill, and the saw. There were models, and what is certain is that with these models, the children could already make cut out, put them together, and be able to do all these projects. So we found this workshop to be very appealing to children, since I was particularly impressed by Chai from elementary school, who was very attached to his material. He strove to glue, sew, assemble. He was very happy at the end of having made his sailing boat, and it's already fit the new system that we have put in place this year. The curriculum, and with what we can set up all these machines, also have converted centers. I mean set up workshops where children can perform these different practices and boast their genius. Because children today should not stop only at theory, but also children are very attracted through practice. And already we are going to see children who in school do not do well with writing, but in practice perform very well. If we state and cloth establish or create in different establishments workshops like this, then every child should have a test for school. Even those who do not have the attraction for studies will be very interested, because already when he makes an object, he is proud to make it. There we can already see creativity, imagination, and much more. So I found it very interesting, and it just limited to this level. We should really put this into practice so that it is not a seminar we come in and go after a little while we forget. No, it should really be put in practice what we learned here. I thank this promoter for the initiative, or for our district or our municipality that he has chosen, our different establishment that he has chosen. With that, children will be very impressed to tell their neighborhood what they have discovered, what they have achieved, and then it will make many other children want to be able to try and see it too.
Although the promoter resides in China, he considered it useful to come to Cameroon to promote the project by his association Africa Sputnik Moment Corporation Limited, based in Douala. This businessman operates in the fields of industrial equipment, logistics, and education. After 20 years of field observation, reading 2 books, one of which was written on Deng Xiaoping and the economic transformation of China, this gave him the idea of designing the project as presented today. In the East Asian schools that has been visited by the said vision bearer, he noticed that there is no cleavage between technical and general educations at the level of the basic education. In this cycle, he observed that everyone was groomed in technology, and as the child grew, his orientation was based on the skills that were developing in him naturally.
L'implémentation du projet African Sputnik Moment.
The implementation of the African Sputnik Moment project in our context is feasible. The approach, the point, the line, The center that we propose to know to create a pilot center to implement on a point. If it works on the point, we done on the line. It can be a scale of department. If it fits on the line, we do on the center. It can be the scale of a region. This approach makes the project dramatic and achievable. And the problem of receptivity no longer arises since people need this technology. Contextualization is possible because we are different bodies, be it administrative or social, and we are open to technology. Everyone from the top of the state to the kindergarten teacher advocates professionalization of teachers, and we are bringing the material to implement this.
Je remercie.
I thank in person and on behalf of the people of Dschang, the national diaspora and the Cameroon diaspora from outside who have a lot to contribute to local development and developed country. And I believe that the forum convened by the government some time ago is already bearing fruit.
Unanimously, the audience at the workshop of May 24th, 2019 made an agreement for the possibility of the signing of the partnership agreement between the municipality of Dschang and the Africa Sputnik Moment Corporation Limited for the implementation of the project in Dschang. It will be about the operation, a school, an aphorism workshop.
We are in the municipality of Dschang who responded very briefly to our project. The creation of a pilot center, for example. As for us, we are ready to contribute. Now in front of us, whether it is the municipality of Dschang or whether it is other administrative bodies who want to create a pilot center, each within the framework of its mission, contribute to the realization of the project, and we will put everything in our disposal to make it feasible. It is all the easier to do it because the material, we already have it, and we are there to communicate to the technology and the very feasible of this project, so that development is no longer a slogan but rather something operational. This is why we came to Dschang to show, to also demonstrate that the professionalization of teaching is possible. And it now only depends on the availability of each other who would like to see those children who are between 5 and 10 years old, and in 20 years, between 25 and 30 years old, be engineers and entrepreneurs.